Yesterday, I received this little fun notification on my browser where Adobe just added this little thing onto my browser. Now, I don't know what prompted it to do this. Definitely some sort of like a secret background Adobe service that I did not consent to adding on behalf of me extensions to my browser. So I have no idea what this would do to cause such a thing to happen, but it's definitely not something I consented to. And this is something that definitely sent me over the edge and really made me want to talk about this. And I decided I cannot possibly postpone this any longer. I am a serial procrastinator, but this just I can't ignore this any longer. This is something I've been meaning to talk about for a very long time. As you will see that I have evidence going pretty far back. Um, and it seems that I'm not even the only person that's facing this issue. If we go here, we can see that other people, as far back as 8 years ago, are having the same issue where Adobe Acrobat is adding extensions to Chrome automatically, and people are fucking pissed, and they should be. And the thing that really kind of inspired me to make this video is actually a YouTuber that I respect very much and believe is kind of like my hero in some ways is Louis Rossmann, where he will probably say this in more beautiful words than I ever could.
Here. Last week, I did a video titled Adobe Roofies All of Their Customers. And the reason that I used that strong language and what I covered in this video was this updated terms of service that Adobe came out with. You may notice over here two things. A, that there is no opt out or disagree button, and B, you cannot access your content until you agree. So what they're doing is they're changing the terms of service, they're changing the terms of the sale under duress, and they're not giving you any option to say no, which is why I call this a rapist mentality.
So that's one of the issues is they just kind of forcing things onto you, and I find that a very disgusting practice. And it actually goes a little further into that, and I know a lot of people, may take issues with this kind of wording, but it's very important that you listen to him for this very specific reason.
Reason that I use that verbiage is something I go over in this video over here when Coalition for Safe and Secure Data, funded by General Motors, Ford, Toyota, Honda, and Nissan, spent $25 million trying to associate independent repair technicians and independent mechanics as being rapists who are going to sexually assault you, who are going to take your data and use it to stalk you. So I've tried to take that term that has been applied to us unfairly and slanderously, which these companies never faced any consequences for, and apply it to them. I've tried to.
And I think that's pretty important. There seems to be a lot of lack of accountability, lack of prosecution, and in a lot of ways, projection, where these companies are, as Lewis said, raping you, but then they're saying that no, actually, we're the rapists and we're raping, potential stock shareholder dollars. If we ever try to fix something that we already paid for, don't want our personal information to be sold off or stolen or either knowingly or unknowingly sold off without our knowledge. Even if you know, that still doesn't make it right. So I think these are very important that we understand and that we kind of use this strong language to kind of bring about this justified hatred towards these companies. I could play you this entire video, um, uh, but honestly, I'd way rather you just watch the entire video. If not, just subscribe to him and watch all of his videos. Doesn't look like I'm subscribed to him, but honestly, I've been subscribed to him for a very long time. This is just a channel and browser that I have set up specifically for this channel. if you go here to the next tab I have here, this person had a bit of a rant about a year ago now where they had issues with Adobe Creative Cloud, where Outlook started uploading PDF attachments through the Creative Cloud, where a lot of people, as you would imagine, if you've ever sent an email, when you try to send an email to someone and that email has a PDF file, maybe you signed a contract, maybe you're sending a resume, you're going to want that file sent to them as a PDF. And what Adobe decided to do is kind of sneak themselves in there so they can keep track of the emails they're sending to each other. So instead of the email being stored in the email attachments, it's being sent to the Adobe Creative Cloud where it's under their own umbrella where they can manage and look at all of your emails, all of your private data. And honestly, I don't know what they're doing back there, but it's definitely something, as this person said, nobody asked for that. I can't imagine a single human being on earth, aside from anybody who has stock in Adobe shares, could possibly ever want something like this. This is such a disgusting and abhorrent behavior. And as this person said to the Creative Cloud team, fuck you, buddy. Now, I don't know if I'm being spited because I was talking ill of Microsoft, but the day that I was recording the video that you've been watching, um, what's funny is that the same night, maybe Microsoft detected that there's a Windows update pending or something, but my computer did not want to go to sleep that night. I put my computer to sleep as I usually do, especially if I have things open, which I do. Obviously, I'm creating this video for you guys. So instead of turning my computer off, I put it to sleep. I tried to go to sleep myself, and in the middle of the night, I woke up to my computer turning itself on. Now, I don't have any viruses. I don't have any kind of startup applications or anything that would result in Microsoft turning itself on. Um, and so I just got up angrily, went to my computer and went power and sleep. Before I even got a chance to hit the hay, same thing happened again. It just booted itself back up. So I got up. This time I pressed power, hibernate. Before I even like finish putting my blanket over me, boom, turn on again. And it's gonna keep doing that all night. Now, after a while, any human would, if especially if they have the important stuff on their computer, um, they just elect to ignore it, right? So that's what I did. I said, you know what? I have things open. I can't risk, like turning my computer off just to have a good night's sleep. So I'm just gonna have a somewhat okay night's sleep and just let the computer stay on. I know it's awful for like the environment, but I did everything I can to put the computer in sleep mode. It's Microsoft that's forcing my own computer to turn on against my own will, against my own consent. Um, so I just let the computer stay on until, after a couple minutes of inactivity, what usually happens is the computer would put itself to sleep. Well, it does that, but then as soon as the computer goes to sleep, typical, it's gonna turn itself back on. So the entire night as I was trying to sleep, it's gonna turn itself on, off, on, off, on, off. Now I did everything I can to fix this. I blocked all startup applications. I went into control panel and blocked anything that could possibly result in any kind of Windows settings or services or applications that could have the permission possibly to turn the computer on or access the power supply, and disabled all of those. Still nothing. I did all the research I can. I've even talked to a Microsoft support person, which, as I say, one of the worst things you can do. None of them will ever be helpful. And they provided me with some commands I could try. That did not do anything either. All that did is reset. Um, so there's honestly no solution for this. And if you Google my same problem that I'm experiencing, you will see that I'm not the only one having this weird issue. In fact, I have two computers, as you will see in my videos I'm going to show you, and I have the two computers side by side. My one computer doesn't do that. It's just that one of my computers does. And it's just something that maybe not everyone experiences, but the fact that anybody experiences at all is infuriating. And my God, I have some choice words um, to say to the person responsible for this.
You can't really say anything, but give it a second. And 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, there we go. Right on cue. Like it doesn't even go a full 10 seconds. Like you saw me. I wasn't doing my 1 second sesames, and it just turns itself right back on. It's actually worse sometimes because what I did is I disabled Wi-Fi, and I'm just gonna put the computer in hibernate, not even sleep, just to kind of get around it. I enabled the hibernate option on top of sleep. Computer's gonna go off. And watch this. Sometimes before it even finishes completely going off, it's gonna turn on again. Oh, there it goes. It didn't. The monitor didn't even finish going into power saving mode before the computer decided to boot itself back up again. You may be thinking, oh, so it's gonna do that forever? Nope, it's only gonna do that when I'm trying to sleep. So at 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m., pretty much throughout the rest of the day, it's not gonna do that until it becomes 1 a.m. again. And when it's like time for me to go to sleep, boom, I'm just gonna keep turning on and off, on and off, on and off.
And this goes even further with Microsoft. One problem I've had for a very long time on my new computer, which I still don't on my old computer, I actually have two computers kind of side by side. This one I use more for editing, it's a more powerful computer, and then I have my other computer for more personal stuff. As it's less powerful, I mostly use it for word processing, stuff like that. And one thing I often do is I edit videos, and honestly, Microsoft has been doing a pretty good job with creating kind of helpful tools with, for example, Windows Photo Viewer has a built-in feature where you can open up videos and then you can trim them, or at least you used to, because that feature somehow stopped working. Now, I don't know why it stopped working, but it seems that even in Windows 11, it does not seem to be working. So this person also bought a recently brand new computer. The computer is Windows 11. I have Windows 10. I see a lot of people having this issue on both Windows 10 and Windows 11. They've upgraded to Windows 11 thinking it'll fix it. They've downgraded from 11 to 10 thinking it'll fix it. It still hasn't fixed it. Um, and he even tried downloading the Photos Legacy app, which was recommended by other people, and that issue wasn't fixed for them. It wasn't fixed for me. I've tried a lot of commands and PowerShell scripts to uninstall and reinstall. Nothing seems to work for anybody. So what happens is, as we can look here, this guy seems to be playing, I don't know, is that Armored Core? Yeah. So he's trying to open up his files, and his files are definitely viewable when they're the full video, but when he tries to kind of crop the video or trim it, the video seems to get corrupted once it's outputted. And this is the issue I have also, is it just kind of loads forever. Um, Now, I don't know what exactly is happening here. Originally, I thought, like, is this a Windows issue? Do I need to reinstall all of Windows? Is it a graphic card issue? Um, And that's definitely something one Microsoft person said in some other Microsoft issue related to this scenario. They're like, make sure you update Windows and you update your graphic drivers. That is one of the least helpful things that I've ever seen Microsoft say. So if you look here, this person from Microsoft seems like to be a moderator. Um, he's just saying, he's like, what type of encoding are you using? What is the type of video file? What is the extension? Is it MP4? Is it HEIF? I mean, we can see it right here. These are DVR files. It doesn't matter if it's MP4. It doesn't matter what the file extension is. It does not work. And it does not work because it's Microsoft's own tool that's cropping these videos. So this person is, it was a reply helpful? Honestly, I'm gonna say no. Doesn't look like anybody found that review helpful. But 40 other people seems to have this issue. If you scroll a little further here, um, this person is also having the same thing. Um, they hate that they have to purchase something else, or like, maybe a paid application to try to edit their videos, when it used to be working fine before. And the best one is here, where this person actually has 18 helpful reviews versus this genuine Microsoft agent with 0. What does he say? He downgraded from 11 to 10 because Microsoft um, broke the functionality to force Clipchamp on you. If you don't know what Clipchamp is, it's this kind of like a super easy to use software that's um, kind of like a freemium software. So it has kind of features kind of like CapCut, except for the fact that if you try to export a video at above 720p, which, as you know, nobody uploads 720p past 2005 anymore, you're gonna have to fork out not just like a one-time fee, it's a subscription. And that's another problem I'm gonna have to talk about later on in another video, how everything is going subscription based. It's the end of the day. I think we're all adults. We're here to do our jobs. I don't mind the messy UI if it lets me do everything I can from the same screen. If you do an update where you try to make things clean and simple, but the next thing you know, the features you're trying to find are no longer there because they're impossible to find. Oh, well, I don't think anybody is going to accept that, because then they can't do the things they wanted to do. Then they have to spend hours on Google trying to find out, hey, where's this feature? Has it been removed? Or did they put it somewhere else? Oh no, it looks like they're just putting it into another tier of subscription where you have to pay another $5 to unlock that special version. What does it Microsoft have? Their like enterprise subscriptions go from like $10 a month to $20 a month to $25 a month, and they got like all of these different plans for different things, and a lot of people usually only need one or two things from those things, and it's just gone insane how they just take things that used to be free and just put them on another tier of paid subscriptions. It is completely just dumbfounds me how much these companies just do not care about you, and they just make things so much more difficult for you to do. We're adults. I don't need things to be clean and simple. I'm not here to do like the puzzle games that like all the moms do on their farm, which is the Candy Crush. We're here to do our jobs. A lot of our jobs are complex. A lot of the things that I do for these people are engineers, they're accountants, they do difficult things, and they're used to having things be difficult. They're used to having, tools all over the screen because they're going to use those tools because it's right there on the screen. And hiding it makes it take 10 times longer to do their job. It makes me, who's not an accountant or not an engineer, spend 100 times learning how to do accounting and engineering just so I can find out where this tool is and how to use it, so I can solve it for people. And a lot of these things are just done by these companies who clearly are not necessarily the brightest themselves, right? So I have no idea what exactly is going through their heads as they keep doing this. I'm just so tired of it. Um, I think and the thing is, I've given a lot of examples, picking on Adobe and Microsoft, um, but it's not just them, right? A lot of these companies are doing this. AutoCAD is, Sage is, QuickBooks is, um, and don't even get me started on printers. Like, if I was allowed to say the F word 100 times in a YouTube video, or 100 times in my entire life, I'd probably say 50 of those F words just on HP printers, especially. Like, oh my God, I am so tired of HP printers. It's not even just the problem of turning inks you can buy on a store shelf into a subscription model, or the software Easy Print, which is just a name. It's actually made printing so much more difficult to try to use. You have to install the driver from their software site, and then it chooses the driver for you. But the printer has to be on the network, and the printer has to be on the same network in a way that their software can detect it, even though the printer was already working on my network before the software was installed. But I had to install the software to be able to make the driver work, because the driver stopped working. And oh my God, there's so much more garbage that HP is trying to push onto people, and it's just insane. Um, the amount of BS you have to go through accepting all of this BS and terms and conditions for something that used to be so simple. Like, I think when I was 10 years old, God, I'm almost 30 now, just like 20 years ago, um, I used to kind of laugh at people who were technologically illiterate, right? Like, I wasn't always in IT. I just kind of went into IT because I just found it so easy. When I was a kid, I used to look at people who couldn't figure out how to use a printer, and I'm like, seriously? I figured that shit out when I was 10, But looking back onto it, it wasn't really even that impressive to figure out how to fix a printer that long ago, because it was so simple that long ago. It was almost completely plug and play. As long as your printer's connected to power, you're gonna be able to print, 9 out of 10 times. But these days, honestly, like, I am so sympathetic to people that are having printer issues, because they turned something that's as easy as, pressing the word print into trying to find a cure for cancer. It is asinine how difficult it is. I know, like, after, I don't know, 20 years of playing around with technology, doing everything I can to try to figure things out and learn from computers, I still have a hard time trying to figure out how to sometimes find out what's even wrong with a printer sometimes. And, I have a lot of friends who are mechanics, and they sometimes have a bit of a tough time figuring out, like, what's wrong with a car. But you do not know how difficult fixing a printer is. I'm honestly inclined to just quit IT, become a mechanic, and just, figure out how to update a car's ECU, because that has to be so much easier to program a car to shoot flames out of the exhaust than making a printer that used to be able to print to continue to print. Um, like, I think if I wanted to find the worst punishment I could ever do to someone who's like my worst enemy, what I would probably do is I would sit them down in front of an HP printer and tell them to try to resolve their issue. And they're not allowed to leave, or, like, if I was God and I was at the pearly gates, I'd say you have to um, come if you want to come into heaven, you have to figure out how to solve this printer. Otherwise, you're stuck out here trying to fix this printer. Honestly, if I was that person, I'd be like, you know what? Fuck this. Heaven's overrated anyways. So just send me to hell, because that is just the worst thing I could possibly ever um, put onto someone, is forcing them to resolve a issue with an HP printer. In the sake of time and not going too far off topic, I'm going to change gears and go back to the original thing I was talking about, just so we can start to wrap things up. So this is something that I had happen when I was setting up a computer, and it's something that I basically experienced when setting up any and every computer I've ever set up, but it's become a much more noticeable thing, setting up much more recent computers these days compared to setting up computers like say even 5 years ago. And you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. To select the region and the language I want to have. What I did here is I specifically didn't connect a Ethernet cable. What Windows will try to do is if it sees that you have internet, it will try to connect itself to the internet immediately because it wants to get its foot right in the door and start selling off as much of the information and kind of really put itself there so it knows who you are, where you're installing this computer, and how you're going to use this computer. So before you've even started doing anything, you're already lost the fight. So I'm just going to say I don't have internet, and already I'm getting it rubbed right into my face like, oh no, trust me, dude, you want internet, like some sort of like a weird sketchy guy in an overcoat in a weird neighborhood. So I was just kind of giving you like, oh, trust me, dude, you want all of this stuff, unlock all of the features and access to all of these things. I'll be honest with you, nobody ever needs any of these softwares, but that's not going to stop Microsoft from forcing them onto you. So what I'm going to do is instead of connecting my cable, the whole reason I didn't is because I want to continue with a limited setup, which you don't always get if you connect your computer to the internet ahead of time. So we go to the next screen. So this is all happening live. I'm just going to say who's going to use this PC. I'm just going to make a local account. If you connect your computer with the internet, what it's going to do is it's going to immediately from the bat force you to log in with a Microsoft account. I don't want to use a Microsoft account. I don't want any accounts associated with this computer. I want this computer to be mine and only mine, not just attributed to any single person or company. Now, this computer, sorry, I'm not setting up for myself, but I'm just trying to set it up as bare bones as possible, um, as to not, have anybody's information given to anybody. So we just kind of give very default bare bones, as little information given to anyone we don't want as possible. So, do we want to give their location to Microsoft? I'm going to press no. Accept. The next screen. Find my device. I don't want Microsoft to keep track of my computer. Send data? Well, unfortunately, we have to send data to Microsoft. There isn't an option to send no data. We just have to send required data, whatever is required, or you know, any kind of data we want to give them. So I was going to say like the minimum possible data I can, because there's no option for no data. Do we want to send Microsoft data about how we use our keyboard and what we type? Obviously no, so we press no. Do we want to get tailored experiences? Obviously no. And this is something that's very important to note. Um, these don't necessarily change the amount of ads you get. They just change how, um, like relevant the ads are to you. Well, we don't care about that. Advertising. Oh, actually, this is the screen that says that. So, do we want to let apps use our advertising ID to let these applications know, hey, this is who I am. This is the kind of things I like. So please use the information you've taken from me without my consent to throw that back into my face and rub it in my face about how much of my data you've taken just to throw it back at me with things that you think may be suited to me. let Cortana get things done. I've never really cared for any of these things. Not Cortana, not Siri, not what's the Samsung one, Bixby. Um, you're better off not using any of them. I don't understand people who do. You know, it's just as easy to, put down your phone's little scroll bar and press the flashlight button than it is to say, "Hey Bixby, turn on my flashlight." So, instead of taking videos, these are kind of still pictures, but it's basically still the same experience you get when setting up Windows. So first you start off with this screen where it says, um, do you want to use Microsoft recommended browser settings? So I think what happened here is Windows finished setting up and it's basically logging into your user profile for the first time. So here we have used the recommended settings, but unfortunately, we don't want Microsoft to be giving us these recommended settings. All these features that help us save time and money. Um, I don't know what these features are, but I don't want Microsoft to tell me how to save time and money. I know how to save time and money. I'm going to choose how to save my time and money. I don't want Microsoft to tell me how to do it. But unfortunately, um, even though all I have these options in front of me, um, you know, I don't want to say yes. I want to say no. I don't have these options. So what I'm going to do, I scroll down and I notice that there's an invisible scroll bar. And if you scroll down, you actually get this option where it says, don't update your settings. So what you can do is instead of going ahead with the default setting where you think it's your only option, you can actually scroll down and have this secret hidden option they don't want you to know about, but I assume they legally still have to put there. So I'm also going to press the button that's invisible, but is very much still there. So I'm going to press that one to don't update my setting with all of these Microsoft features. And then the next screen, exactly the same thing. So always have access to your recent browser data. Um, they're trying to say that, this is you where you can have access to your browsing data. But what you're actually doing here is you're giving Microsoft to always have access to your browsing data. So, do I want to continue browsing where it went off? Is it kind of like a weird language to use? It's actually saying, to um, take apart any data I have on another computer, give it to Microsoft, and then download it back onto this new computer. So, obviously, I don't want that, but I have no ability to accept it, right? Wrong, because as usual, there's a hidden scroll bar at the bottom here, on the side here, and if you scroll down a little bit, I can say not now. Unfortunately, there isn't a not never, it's just a not now, which is basically corporate talk for pester me at a different time. So I'm going to say, no, don't import browser data. I don't want to import or export data to any Microsoft services. I want my own data to stay on my own computer. So that's something a lot of these companies do. They're going to give you the illusion of choice. I mean, again, it's as Lewis always says.
Don't assume that your customers are so fucking stupid that they don't know how to use a thesaurus. I remember saying throughout the few months in that relationship, I am not crazy.
And, maybe we are crazy. If we keep accepting everything that they do to us, we'd have to be crazy to stay. We'd have to be crazy to continue to accept this. But honestly, this is not something that anybody ever appreciates. And I think that Microsoft and Adobe and all of these softwares are making a huge mistake. So I'm going to end today's video with this picture, which perfectly explains exactly what kind of issues we can expect to see, not just from Adobe, as Lewis was pointing out, but to show that this is a much bigger issue with Microsoft doing the exact same things. The illusion of choice, at least with Microsoft, you do have that choice. It's just an illusion to make you think you don't. Um, with Adobe, unfortunately, the option to consent simply does not exist because Adobe, much like any of these corporations and the politicians that continue to um, endorse them and enable them, um, will allow you to continue to rape you.